Okay, well, today we're on part 4, and we're going to be hearing Jack's voice. And before, if you remember, we heard what Summer had to say, what Via had to say. So this book is giving us people's different perspectives on Augie and how they connect with Augie and what their life is also like. Okay, so this is what Jack has to say, the call. So in August, my parents got this call from Mr. Tushman, the middle school director. And my mom said, maybe he calls all the new students to welcome them. And my dad said, that's a lot of kids he'd be calling. So my mom called him back, and I could hear her talking to Mr. Tushman on the phone. This is exactly what she said. Oh, hi, Mr. Tushman. This is Amanda Will returning your call. Pause. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you to say. He's looking forward to it. Pause. Yes. Pause. Yeah. Pause. Oh, sure. Long pause. Oh, uh-huh. Pause. Well, that's so nice of you to say. Pause. Sure. Oh, wow. Oh, super long pause. I see. Of course. Oh, I'm sure he will. Let me write it down. Got it. I'll call you after I've had a chance to talk to him. Okay? Pause. No, thank you for thinking of him. Bye-bye. And when she hung up, I was like, what's up? What did he say? And Mom said, well, it's actually very flattering, but kind of sad too. See, there's this boy who's starting middle school this year, and he's never been in a real school environment before because he was homeschooled. So Mr. Tushman talked to some of the lower school teachers to find out who they thought were some of the really, really great kids coming into 5th grade. And the teachers must have told him that you were an especially nice kid, which I already knew, of course. So Mr. Tushman is wondering if he could count on you to sort of shepherd this new boy around a bit. Like, let him hang out with me, I said. Exactly, said Mom. He called it being a welcome buddy. But why me? I told you, your teachers told Mr. Tushman that you were the kind of kid who's known for being a good egg. I mean, I'm so proud that they think so highly of you. Well, Mom, why is it sad? What do you mean? You said it's flattering, but kind of sad too. Oh, Mom nodded. Well, apparently this boy has some sort of, I guess there's something wrong with his face or something like that. Not sure. Maybe he was in an accident. Mr. Tushman said he'd explain it a bit more when you come to school next week. School doesn't start until September. He wants you to meet this kid before school starts. Do I have to? Mom looked a bit surprised. Well, no, of course not. But it would be a nice thing to do, Jack. If I don't have to do it, I don't want to do it. Can you at least think about it? I'm thinking about it and I don't want to do it. Well, I'm not going to force you, she said, but at least think about it some more, okay? I'm not calling Mr. Tushman back until tomorrow, so just sit with it a bit. I mean, Jack, I really don't think it's that much to ask that you spend a little extra time with some new kid. It's not that he's just a new kid, Mom. He's deformed. That's a terrible thing to say, Jack. He is, Mom. You don't even know what it is. Yeah, I do, I said, because I knew the second she started talking about him that it was that kid named August Carvel. I remember seeing him for the first time in front of the Carvel on Amsford Avenue when I was about 5 or 6. Me and Veronica, my babysitter, were sitting on the bench outside the store with Jamie, my baby brother, who was sitting in a stroller facing us. I guess I was busy eating my ice cream cone because I didn't even notice the people who sat next to us. Then at one point, I turned my head to suck the ice cream out of the bottom of my cone, and that's when I saw him, August. He was sitting right next to me. I know it wasn't cool, but I kind of went, ah, when I saw him because I honestly got scared. I thought he was wearing a zombie mask or something. It was the kind of, ah, you say when you're watching a scary movie and the bad guy just jumps out of the bushes. Anyway, I know it wasn't nice of me to do that. And though the kid didn't hear me, I know his sister did. Jack, we have to go, said Veronica. She'd gotten up and was turning the stroller around because Jamie, who had obviously just noticed the kid too, was about to say something embarrassing. So I jumped up kind of suddenly like a bee had landed on me and followed Veronica as she zoomed away. I could hear the kid's mom saying softly behind us, okay, guys, I think it's time to go. And I turned around to look at them one more time. The kid was licking his ice cream cone. The mom was picking up his scooter. and the sister was glaring at me like she was going to kill me. I looked away quickly. Veronica, what's wrong with that kid? I whispered. Hush, boy, she said, and her voice got angry. I love Veronica, but when she got mad, she got mad. Meanwhile, Jamie was practically spilling out of his stroller, trying to get another look as Veronica pushed him away. Veronica, said Jamie, you boys were very naughty, said Veronica as soon as we were further down the block, staring like that. I didn't mean to, I said. Veronica, said Jamie. Us leaving like that, Veronica was muttering. Oh, Lord, that poor lady. I tell you, boys, every day we should thank the Lord for our blessings. You hear me? Veronica, what is it, Jamie? Is it Halloween? No, Jamie. Then why was that boy wearing a mask? Veronica didn't answer. Sometimes when she was mad about something, she would do that. He wasn't wearing a mask, I explained to Jamie. Hush, Jack, said Veronica. Why are you so mad, Veronica? I couldn't help asking. I thought this would make her angrier, but actually she shook her head. It was bad how we did that, she said, just getting up like that, like we just seen the devil. I was scared for what Jamie was going to say, you know? I didn't want him to say something that would hurt that little boy's feelings. But it was very bad, us leaving like that. The mama knew what was going on. But we didn't mean it, I answered. Jack, sometimes you don't have to mean it to hurt someone else. Do you understand? This was the first time I ever saw August in the neighborhood, at least that I remembered. But I've seen him around ever since then, a couple of times in the playground, a few times in the park. He used to wear an astronaut helmet sometimes, but I already knew it was him underneath the helmet. All the kids in the neighborhood knew it was him. Everyone has seen August at some point or another. We all know his name, though he doesn't know ours. And whenever I've seen him, I try to remember what Veronica said. But it's hard. It's hard not to sneak a second look. It's hard to act normal when you see him. Why I changed my mind. Who else did Mr. Tushman call? I asked Mom later that night. Did he tell you? He mentioned Julian and Charlotte. Julian, I said. Oh, why Julian? You used to be friends with Julian. Mom, that was like in kindergarten. Julian's the biggest phony there is, and he's trying so hard to be popular all the time. Well, said Mom, at least Julian agreed to help this kid out. Got to give him credit for that. I didn't say anything because she was right. What about Charlotte, I asked. Is she doing it too? Yes, Mom said. Of course she is. Charlotte's such a goody two-shoes, I answered. Boy, Jack, said Mom, you seem to have a problem with everybody these days. It's just, I started. Mom, you have no idea what this kid looks like. I can imagine. No, you can't. You've never seen him. I have. It might not even be who you're thinking it is. Trust me, it is. And I'm telling you, it's really, really bad. He's deformed, Mom. His eyes are like down here, and I pointed to my cheeks, and he has no ears, and his mouth is like, Jamie had walked into the kitchen to get a juice box from the fridge. Ask Jamie, I said. Right, Jamie? Remember that kid we saw in the park after school last year, the kid named August, the one with the face? Oh, that kid, said Jamie, his eyes open wide. He gave me a nightmare. Remember, Mommy? That nightmare about the zombies from last year? I thought that was from watching a scary movie, answered Mom. No, said Jamie. It was from seeing that kid. When I saw him, I was like, ah, and I ran away. Wait a minute, said Mom, getting nervous. Did you do that in front of him? I couldn't help it, said Jamie, kind of whining. Of course you could help it, Mom scolded. Guys, I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed by what I'm hearing here. And she looked like how she sounded. I mean, honestly, he's just a little boy, just like you. Can you imagine how he felt to see you running away from him, Jamie? Screaming? It wasn't a scream, argued Jamie. It was like, ah! He put his hands on his cheeks and started running around the kitchen. Come on, Jamie, said Mom angrily. I honestly thought my boys were more sympathetic than that. What's sympathetic, asked Jamie, who only got going into the second grade. You know exactly what I mean by sympathetic, Jamie, said Mom. It's just that he's so ugly, Mommy, said Jamie. Hey, Mommy yelled. I don't like that word. Jamie, just get your juice box. I want to talk to Jack alone for a second. Look, Jack, said Mom as soon as he left, and I knew she was about to give me a whole speech. Okay, I'll do it, I said, which completely shocked her. You will? Yes. So I can call Mr. Tushman? Yes, Mom. Yes, I said yes. Mom smiled. I knew you'd rise to the occasion, kiddo. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Jackie. She messed up my hair. So here's why I changed my mind. It wasn't so I wouldn't have to hear Mom give me a whole lecture. And it wasn't to protect this August kid from Julian, who I knew would be a jerk about the whole thing. It was because when I heard Jamie talking about how he'd run away from August going, I suddenly felt really bad. The thing is, there are always going to be kids like Julian who are jerks. But if a little kid like Jamie, who's usually a nice enough kid, can be that mean, then a kid like August doesn't stand a chance in middle school. 4 things. First of all, you do get used to his face. The first couple of times I was like, whoa, I'm never going to get used to this. And then after about a week, I was like, it's not so bad. Second of all, he's actually a really cool dude. I mean, he's pretty funny. Like the teacher will say something and August will whisper something funny to me so no one else hears. It totally cracks me up. He's also just overall a nice kid. Like he's easy to hang out with and talk to and stuff. Third of all, he's really smart. I thought he'd be behind everyone because he hadn't gone to school before. But in most things, he's way ahead of me. I mean, maybe not as smart as Charlotte or Ximena, but he's up there. And unlike Charlotte Ximena, he lets me cheat off of him when I really need to. Though I've only needed to a couple of times. He also lets me copy his homework once, and we both got in trouble, though, for it after class. The 2 of you got exactly the same answers wrong on yesterday's homework, Mr. Rubin said, looking at both of us like she was waiting for an explanation. I didn't know what to say because the explanation would have been, oh, that's because I copied August's homework. But August lied to protect me. He was like, oh, that's because we did our homework together last night, which wasn't true at all. Well, doing homework together is a good thing, Miss Rubens answered, but you're supposed to still do it separately, okay? You could work side by side if you want to, but you can't actually do your homework together, okay? Got it? After we left the classroom, I said, dude, thanks for doing that. And he was like, no problem. That was cool. Fourthly, now that I know him, I would say I actually do want to be friends with August. At first, I admit it, I was only friendly to him because Mr. Tushman asked me to be especially nice and all that. But now I would choose to hang out with him. He laughs at all my jokes, and I kind of feel like I can tell August anything. Like he's a good friend, like if all the guides in the 5th grade were lined up against the wall and I got to choose anyone I wanted to hang out with, I would choose August. Ex-friends. Bleeding scream? What the heck? Summer Dawson has always been a bit out there, but this was too much. All I did was ask her why August was acting like he was mad at me or something. I figured she would know. And all she said was, bleeding scream? I don't even know what that means. It's so weird because one day me and August were friends and the next day, swoosh, she was hardly talking to me. And I haven't the slightest idea why. When I said to him, hey, August, you mad at me or something? He shrugged and walked away. So I would take that as a definite yes. And since I know for a fact that I didn't do anything to him to be mad at, I figured Summer could tell me what's up. But all I got from her was bleeding scream. Yeah, big help. Thanks, Summer. You know, I got plenty of other friends in school. So if August wants to officially be my ex-friend, then fine, that's okay by me. See if I care. I've started ignoring him like he's ignoring me in school now. This is actually kind of hard since we sit next to each other in practically every class. Other kids have noticed and have started asking if me and August have had a fight. Nobody asked August what's going on. Hardly anyone talks to him anyway. I mean, the only person he hangs out with other than me is Summer. Sometimes he hangs out with Reed Kingsley a little bit. And the 2 Maxes got him playing Dungeons and Dragons a couple of times at recess. Charlotte, for all of her goody two-shoeing, doesn't ever do more than nod hello when she's passing him in the hallway. And I don't know if everyone's still playing the plague behind his back because no one ever really told me about it directly. My point is that it's not like he has a whole lot of other friends he could be hanging out with instead of me. If he wants to diss me, he's the one who loses, not me. So this is how things are between us now. We only talk to each other about school stuff if we absolutely have to. Like I say, what did Ruben say the homework was? And he'll answer. Or he'll be like, can I use your pencil sharpener? And I'll get my pencil sharpener out of my pencil case for him. But as soon as the bell rings, we go our separate ways. Why this is good is because I get to hang out with a lot more kids now. Before, when I was hanging out with August all the time, kids weren't hanging out with me because they'd have to hang out with him. Or they would keep things from me. like the whole thing about the plague. I think I was the only one who wasn't in on it except for Summer and maybe the D&D crowd. And the truth is, so nobody's that obvious about it, nobody wants to hang out with him. Everyone's way too hung up on being in the popular group. And he's just about as far from the popular group as you can get. But now I can hang out with anyone I want. If I wanted to be in the popular group, I could totally be in the popular group. Why this is bad is because, well, A, I don't actually enjoy hanging out with the popular group that much. And B, I actually like hanging out with August. So this is kind of messed up, and it's all August's fault. Snow. The first snow of winter hit right before Thanksgiving break. School was closed, so we got an extra day of vacation. I was glad about that because I was so bummed out about this whole August thing, and I just wanted some time to chill without having to see him every day. Also, waking up to a snow day is just about my favorite thing in the world. I love that feeling when you first open your eyes in the morning and you don't even know why everything seems different than usual. Then it hits you. Everything is quiet. No cars honking, no buses going down the street. And you turn over to the window and the outside, everything is covered in white. The sidewalks, the trees, the cars on the street, your window panes. And then when that happens on a school day and you find out your school is closed, well, I don't care how old I get. I'm always going to think that that's the best feeling in the world. And I'm never going to be one of those grown-ups that use an umbrella when it's snowing, ever. Dad's school was closed too, so he took me and Jamie sledding down Skeleton Hill in the park. They say a little kid broke his neck by sledding down that hill a few years ago, but I don't know if this is actually true or just one of those urban legends. On the way home, I spotted this banged up wooden sled, kind of propped up against the old Indian rock monument. Dad said to leave it. It was just garbage. But something told me it would make the greatest sled ever. So Dad let me drag it home, and I spent the rest of the day fixing it up. I super glued the broken slats together and wrapped some heavy-duty white duct tape around them for extra strength. Then I spray painted the whole thing white with the paint I'd gotten for the alabaster sphinx I was working on for the Egyptian Museum project. When it was all dry, I painted lightning in gold letters on the middle piece of wood, and I made a little lightning bolt symbol above the letters. It looked pretty professional, I have to say. Dad was like, wow, Jackie, you were right about that sled. The next day we went back to Skeleton Hill with lightning. It was the fastest thing I'd ever written. So much faster than the plastic sleds we've been using. And because it had gotten warmer outside, the snow had become crunchier and wetter, good packing snow. Me and Jamie took turns on lightning all afternoon. We were in the park until our fingers were frozen and our lips were turned a little blue. Dad practically had to drag us home. By the end of the weekend, the snow had started turning gray and yellow. And then a rainstorm turned most of the snow to slush. When we got back to school on Monday, there was no snow left. It was rainy and yucky the first day back from vacation, a slushy day. And that's how I was feeling inside too. I nodded hey to August the first time I saw him. We were in front of the lockers. He nodded hey back. I wanted to tell him about lightning, but I didn't. Fortune favors the bold. Mr. Brown's December precept was, fortune favors the bold. We were all supposed to write a paragraph about some time in our lives when we did something very brave and how because of it, something good happened to us. I thought about this a lot, to be truthful. I have to say that I think the bravest thing I ever did was become friends with August. But I couldn't write about that, of course. I was afraid we'd have to read them out loud, or Mr. Brown would put them up on the bulletin board like he does sometimes. So instead, I wrote this lame thing about how I used to be afraid of the ocean when I was little. It was dumb, but I couldn't think of anything else. I wonder what August wrote about. He probably had a lot of things to choose from. Private school. My parents are not rich. I say this because people sometimes think that everyone who goes to a private school is rich, but that isn't true with us. Dad's a teacher and Mom's a social worker, which means they don't have those kind of jobs where people make gazillions of dollars. We used to have a car, but we sold it when Jamie started kindergarten at Beecher Prep. We don't live in a big townhouse or in one of those dormant buildings along the park. We live on the top floor of a 5-story walk-up we rent from an old lady named Donna Petra, all the way on the other side of Broadway. That's code for the section of North River Heights where people don't want to park their cars. Me and Jamie share a room. I overheard my parents talk about things like, can we do without air conditioner one more year? Or maybe I can work 2 jobs this summer. So today at recess, I was hanging out with Julian and Henry and Miles. Julian, who everyone knows is rich, was like, I hate that I have to go back to Paris this Christmas. It's so boring. Dude, but it's like Paris, I said like an idiot. Believe me, it's so boring, he said. My grandmother lives in this house in the middle of nowhere. It's like an hour away from Paris in this tiny, tiny, tiny village. Swear to God, nothing happens there. I mean, it's like, oh wow, there's another fly on the wall. Look, there's a new dog sleeping on the sidewalk. Yippee. I laughed. Sometimes Julian could be very funny. But my parents are talking about throwing a big party this year instead of going to Paris. I hope so. What are you going to do over break? Said Julian. Just hanging out, I said. Oh, you're so lucky, he said. I hope it snows again, I answered. I got this new sled that is so amazing. I was about to tell them about lightning, but Miles started talking first. I got a new sled too, he said. My dad got it from Hammaker in Simons. It's a state of the art. How could a sled be the state of an art? Said Julian. It was like $800 or something. Whoa, we should all go sledding and have a race down Skeleton Hill, I said. Oh, well, that hill is so lame, answered Julian. Are you kidding? Some kid broke his neck there. That's why it's called Skeleton Hill. Julian narrowed his eyes and looked at me like I was the biggest moron in the world. It's called Skeleton Hill because it was an ancient Indian burial ground. Duh. Anyway, it should be called Garbage Hill now. It's so freaking junky. Last time I was there, it was so gross, like with soda cans and broken bottles and stuff, and he shook his head. Well, I left my old sled there, said Miles. It was the crappiest piece of junk, and someone took it too. Maybe a hobo wanted to go sledding, laughed Julian. Where did you leave it, I asked. By the big rock at the bottom of the hill, and I went back the next day and it was gone. I couldn't believe someone actually took it. Here's what we can do, said Julian. Next time it snows, my dad will drive all of us to the golf course in Westchester. They make Skeleton Hill look like nothing. Hey, Jack, where are you going? I had started to walk away. I just got to get a book out of my locker, I lied. I just wanted to get away from them fast. I didn't want anyone to know that I was the hobo who had taken the sled. In science. I'm not the greatest student in the world. I know some kids actually like school, but I honestly can't say I do. I like some parts of school like PE and computer class. And the thing, well, oh yeah, and there's lunch and recess, but all in all, I'd be fine without school. And the thing I hate the most about school is all the homework we get. It's not enough that we have to sit through class after class and try to stay awake. They fill our heads with all this stuff we will probably ever need to know, like how to figure out the surface area of a cube, or what the difference is between kinetic and potential energy. I'm like, who cares? I've never ever heard my parents say the word kinetic in my entire life. I hate science the most out of all my classes. We get so much work, it's not even funny. And the teacher, Ms. Rubin, is so strict about everything, even the way we write our headings on the top of our papers. I once got 2 points off a homework assignment because I didn't put the date on top. Crazy stuff. When me and August were still friends, I was doing okay in science because August sat next to me and always let me copy his notes. August has the neatest handwriting of anybody I've ever seen as a boy. Even his script is neat, up and down perfectly with really small loopy letters. But now we're ex-friends. It's bad because I can't ask him to let me copy his notes anymore. So I was kind of scrambling today, trying to take notes about what Miss Rubin was saying. My handwriting is awful. When all of a sudden she started talking about the 5th grade science fair project and how we all had to choose a science project to work on. While she was saying this, I was thinking, we just finished the freaking Egypt project. Now we've got to start a whole new thing. And then in my head, I was going, oh no, like that kid in Home Alone with his mouth hanging open and his hands on his face. That was the face I was making on the inside. And then I thought of those pictures of melting ghost faces I've seen somewhere, where their mouths are open wide and they're screaming. And then, all of a sudden, this picture flew into my head, this memory, and I knew what Summer had meant by bleeding scream. It's so weird how it all just came to me in a flash. Someone in homeroom had dressed up in a bleeding scream costume on Halloween. I remember seeing him a few desks away from me, and then I remember not seeing him again. Oh man, it was August. All of this hit me in science class while the teacher was talking. Oh man, I've been talking to Julian about August. Oh man, now I understood. I was so mean, and I don't even know why. I'm not even sure that I knew Julian, and everybody thought I was so weird for hanging out with August all the time. And I felt stupid. And I don't know why I said that stuff. I was just going along. I was stupid. I am stupid. Oh God. He was supposed to come as Bobo Fett. I would never have said that stuff and said those things in front of Bobo Fett. But that was him, the bleeding scream, sitting at a desk looking over at us. The long white mask with the fake squirting blood, the mouth open wide like the ghost was crying. That was him. I felt like I was going to puke. Partners. I didn't hear a word of Miss Rubens was saying after that. Blah, blah, blah. Science fair project, blah, blah, blah. Partners, blah, blah. It was like the way grown-ups talk in Charlie Brown movies, like someone talking underwater. Then all of a sudden, Miss Rubens started pointing to kids around the class. Reed and Tristan, Maya and Max, Charlotte and Exima, August and Jack. She pointed to us when she said this. Miles and Amos, Julian and Henry, Savannah and I didn't hear the rest. Huh, I said. The bell rang. So don't forget to get together with your partners to choose a project from the list, guys, said Miss Rubens as everyone started taking off. I looked up at August, but he'd already put his backpack on and was practically out the door. I must have had a stupid look on my face because Julian came over and said, looks like you and your best buds are partners. He was smirking when he said this. I hated him so much right then. Hello, Earth to Jack Will, he said when I didn't answer him. Shut up, Julian. I was putting my loose leaf binder away in my backpack and just wanted to get away from him. You must be so bummed you got stuck with him, he said. You should tell Miss Rubens you want to switch partners. I bet she'd let you. No, she wouldn't, I said. Asked her. No, I don't want to. Miss Rubens, Julian raised his hand at the same time. Miss Rubens was erasing the chalkboard at the front of the room. She turned when she heard her name. No, Julian, I whispered, screamed. What is it, boys? She said impatiently. Could we switch partners if we wanted to, said Julian, looking very innocent. Me and Jack had a science fair project idea we wanted to work on together. Well, I guess we could arrange that, she started to say. No, it's okay, Miss Rubens, I said quickly, heading out the door. Bye. Julian ran after me. Why did you do that, he said, catching up to me at the stairs. We could have been partners. You don't have to be friends with that freak if you don't want to, you know. And that's when I punched him right in the mouth. We're going to stop there, and I'm going to read another book. Okay. And this book is very important to me because it's something that I do myself every day, and maybe you do it too. Not in the same way that Mouse did it, but it's a practice that I use, and it's very important to me. Yes, Ed. You have a question?
Yes. Hold on. I got to go.
No, not yet. We're still here for a few more minutes.
Okay, this next book won't take very long, Ed, okay? It's called Mouse Was Mad, all right? Here we go. And it shows a great picture. Mouse is really mad, stomping his feet. All right. And he's stomping and he's screaming and he's yelling. Goes on. Mouse was mad. You turn this light off on the top. It's better. He was hopping mad. Okay. Let me show you how to hop properly, said Hare, who truly was a hopping whiz. Okay, so there's Hare, and he's hopping because he wants to show Mouse how to do it right. Mouse tried to hop like Hare, nothing doing. Mouse hopped, and splish. He landed in a mud puddle. Okay, so he could not hop like Hare, and he's getting very dirty. You call that stomping? Because then Mouse started to stomp. He was getting madder and madder. Mouse stopped stomping. Stomping done right should result in the shaking of trees and the rumbling of earth, said Bear. So Bear stomped. Okay, So there's Bear stomping. And there's Mouse way below him. The trees shook and the earth rumbled. Mouse tried to stomp like Bear, and the trees did not shake, and the earth did not rumble. But Mouse stomped, stomped, and stomped, and splash, he ended up in another mud puddle. Okay, you think this is going to make him angrier? Yes. And so Mouse was really, really mad. He was screaming mad. That's hardly a scream at all, said Bobcat. So Mouse stopped screaming. When I scream, you can hear the echo through the woods. Bobcat screamed to prove his point. It echoed all through the woods. That is a great graphic picture. I don't know if you've ever felt like screaming like that. So Mouse opened his mouth wide and let out the loudest scream he could manage. No echo. He tried arching his back like Bobcat, but lost his balance, and guess what? He fell splosh, and he got even muddier than before. Oh dear, here we go. Now Mouse was really, really, really mad, rolling around on the ground mad. Pull your feet in, said Hedgehog. Mouse stopped rolling. The best rolling is achieved when the body is a perfect spear, Hedgehog tucked in his nose and his feet and his hands, and he became a perfect spear. You can't see anything, okay? So Mouse is going to try to do this just like he tried doing everything else. Mouse tucked in his nose and his feet and his hands. He was not a perfect spear, but he was close. He pulled in his tail, he rode around and splashed into the muckiest mud puddle of all. Okay, here he goes. I don't know. I don't think it could get any worse, you guys. Now Mouse was really, really, really mad. He was standing still mad. So there he is. And he's standing perfectly still. Mouse did not hop. He did not stomp. He did not scream or roll on the ground. He stood very, very still. Impressive, said Hare. What control, said Bear. Are you still breathing? Asked Hedgehog. So the other animals are really amazed that he has such control. Mouse took a deep breath and he let his breath out. Bobcat heard air whistle through Mouse's nose, but he did not see Mouse move. Inspiring, said Bobcat. Okay. Bobcat stood very still and he breathed deep and he tried not to move. All right. Your ears twitch, said Hare. Let me try, but he could not keep his tail from wiggling. Okay, and now Bear's gonna try. Bear tried, but when he breathed deep, trees moved. Ah, okay. And the ground shook a little. Hedgehog came closest, but even he could not keep his bristles from bristling. They stood together for a long time, breathing and trying to be still. Okay, so all the friends are standing still together. And then Mouse realized he was no longer mad. Okay. I feel better now, said Mouse. You look better too, said Bear. But you need a bath, said Hedgehog. Good idea, said Mouse. Okay, let me see if I can get the pictures here. And all of his friends are there. Okay. And so what did Mouse do? He splashed in some good clean water. All right. And he was mad no more. And I think all of his friends learned a good lesson. And that's something that every one of us can do when we get upset. We can learn to be still and breathe deeply and let it out. And that's one good technique for being able to control our feelings. And that's my story for today. Okay.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now,
I got a question.
yes, Sarah.
For Bobby. I got your Christmas card in the mail.
Oh, yay. I'm so glad.
And I sent you one too.
You did? Oh, wow.
I did. I
Oh,
sent you Christmas cards in the mail.
thank you so much.
Thank
I've been
you.
putting all of our Christmas cards.
Yep, we got one too.
Yay.
Thank
I
you for
had
Christmas
two-
card. I
Oh,
loved
bye.
it. Appreciated
Thank you.
it.
If
Oh,
someone
bye.
didn't get one, there were 2 addresses that I didn't have. So I just sent out 2 more yesterday. So they're coming. All right. I'm so glad you got them. I was afraid the mail would be so slow, but yay.
No, no, it's fine. I got it. It was great. I liked
Okay.
it. I like it.
Good.
I
Good.
love getting stuff from you.
Oh, I appreciate that very much.
I love Christmas cards and stuff like that. Next month is my birthday.
Ooh, January.
January 26th.
Ah,
We'll be
Great.
celebrating everybody's birthdays as they come along, and I know we have a couple coming up soon. So
Bobbi, got her card?
She saw it.
Oh, she saw
yes.
it.
Yes.
No.
You got your card too?
Yeah.
I got its card too.
Yes. I'm trying to send one to everybody. I hope I think
Well,
I
thank
did.
you. I appreciate it. We love cards. We love seeing cards from you. I love
You're
seeing cards
welcome.
from you.
Yeah, we do love getting cards from you. It's very nice.